I was muted. Ah, how often happened that? Jesus, how often did that happen? No, I think 5 times, maybe six. Way too often. So, if you read the title of today's stream, yeah, I'm sick. Well, kind of. Not anymore, but I'm still feeling really weak. Well, compared to usual. Yesterday was way worse. I had problems walking. That's not good. So today we keep it low profile. I had a really bad migraine last yesterday. I still have a headache, so nothing loud, no loud noises, no fast moving pictures, so no gaming. So we and just enjoy watching some videos and you know react. And I don't want to bother with you know drama stuff. So we start with this. I st I started watching this video last stream on Wednesday, and then my internet died. So let's watch it again.
I'm amazed how little attention the media has given to a new report on global warming I mentioned last week. I'm not that surprised, to be honest. I mean, I've seen how the media ignores proof that the warming scare is grossly exaggerated. But I think you deserve to know more about this report. In the United States, Chris Wright, who's the brilliant gas tycoon who now leads the US Department of Energy, he hired 5 very prominent climate experts to report back to the government on what the climate was really.
What are the experts in? What are their degrees? You ever notice that things like that are never mentioned? Isn't that funny?
Doing, and whether we could trust predictions by the most popular climate models that we're facing dangerous warming of at least 3 degrees this century, and we're already copping all sorts of climate.
But I thought it's 1.5. Where do the 3 all of a sudden come from? Are you telling me that they literally say that the old climate, diagrams, the studies, their prognosis were all wrong? Number one, they were all wrong. But number two, do they now actually acknowledge that? And if so, why would we believe them right now? If everything before was wrong, why would we believe that they're right now? Why would we believe that?
Disasters. Well, the author's conclusion was that the climate models are actually unreliable. They're all over the shop. They predict probably 1 degree more warming than is likely, and we aren't getting many of the predicted climate disasters. Plus,
Plus, for, do you remember when before Obama was president, he was, I think, the mayor of New Orleans. I think that's his position back then, and I think it was 2012. No, before that. When New Orleans got hit by a hurricane category, I think 5, and the entire city was flooded, and it was a disaster. Back then, after that, all those global warming people said that hurricanes of that strength would be the norm in the future, and there would be way more hurricanes in general, and of course, even stronger ones. What happened? Absolutely nothing. Like literally, absolutely nothing happened. And the same is with all those. Ooh, in the future we will have um, way more floods, and they will be way worse. And then a couple of years we had a flood, a really bad one in Germany, and oh, it's climate change, it's climate change. And turned out, no, it's not climate change. It was all literally a human mistake because one dumb woman was more worried about her posts on Instagram than doing her job. A dam broke because it rained so much that, well, there was too much water, and then the dam broke. They could have just released more water beforehand because they knew that all the rain was coming, but they didn't. And then the dam broke. And a lot of people died. A lot of area got flooded. Interesting thing. Only the areas got flooded that were the actual flood areas of the river. So people built houses in flood area of a river. And now everyone is complaining that, oh, it got flooded. Of course it got flooded. It's a flood area. Why are you building in a flood area? Now, they built there because they were allowed to build there. They didn't know. Now the people in the city, they knew. They didn't care. And that's why it happened. It's not that there are more floods. No, there aren't. It's not that they are stronger. They aren't. We always had floods. I mean, literally, look at history books and read about Egypt. Egypt was so great because of the yearly flooding of the Nile that fertilized the fields. The Egyptians relied on the Nile to flood every year. So floods happened all the time. In the past, it happens now, it happens in the future. It will always happen. Just like droughts happened in the past, happened now, happens in the future. Will always happen. That's just part of nature. It's just normal. You either can now, cry about it and say, oh, it's human made, or you can go, okay, we know these things happened in the past, they happen now, they will happen in the future, so we prepare for it to happen again, which you can. It's not hard. We did it in the past. We do it right now. But some people in some areas. Not in Germany because that would be called a conspiracy theorist. But yeah, things happen all the time. And that's also a thing, especially in Germany. People getting their houses flooded because they are built in flood areas. And I can guarantee you that is happening everywhere in the world, but especially in Western countries, because people there are, more retarded when it comes to dealing with nature, because they are so far away from nature. Yes, I said that this way, very especially city people. They have no clue. That's why everyone here believes that the forest in Germany is dying. It's not. It's, as far as I can tell, one kind of tree that is dying, and that's because of one insect. And they are, they are dying. Well, the trees are dying because they are getting eaten by the insects. That happens periodically. Every 30 years, these trees are dying in Germany. That's normal. Happened in the past, like all the time. Happens now. Will happen in the future. But they are saying that, oh, it's climate change. It's not. It's just the life cycle, which they would understand if they would know what they are talking about. But they don't.
Global warming also has benefits that are often ignored, especially a big increase in trees and crops that we've been seeing, a greening of the planet.
Oh, who could have guessed? By the way, that's literally happening in the Sahara Desert. Oh, who could have guessed that CO2, the thing that plants need to breathe. Have you ever heard of photosynthesis? Yeah, they need CO2 for that. The more you know. By the way, that's fifth grade biology.
And in this report, the authors sum it all up like this. Models, the climate models, and experience suggest that carbon dioxide-induced warming may be less damaging economically than commonly believed. And excessively aggressive mitigation policies, you might include our own net zero schemes, could prove more detrimental than beneficial.
Like in Germany. Very, very important thing here actually in Germany. We put basically styropor on the buildings for uh, so you don't need to heat that much, and so that stuff doesn't get overrun by not parasites, insects. You impregnate them with parasites, which gets washed out when rainwater hits the thing, and then goes into the ground and the groundwater and into the rivers and everywhere, and there kills off the life. That's why there are so many uh, how would I call it, pesticides in German waterways. It's not because of the farmers. It's not the farmers that put that there. It's the construction industry. It's the we have to save the climate people that put it there. Which they of course don't know, because you can't say that openly, because that's a conspiracy theory.
So you can understand why the authors have since been absolutely trashed for daring to doubt the climate scare and upsetting the climate industry. They've been called all sorts of names, painted as fools, frauds, Donald Trump toadies, even Stalin.
Scientists decry Trump energy chief's plan to update climate reports. Exactly what Stalin did. Funny. You know what's also funny? About 18 months ago, there was a letter released by and signed by 1,200 climate scientists that fundamentally say man-made climate change doesn't exist. Have you ever heard about that letter in the media? No. I wonder why.
Would you believe? But don't be fooled by the abuse, because the 5 authors are in fact very prominent experts. Professor Emerita Judith Curry, who's published 192 peer-reviewed papers on the climate. Dr. Roy Spencer, NASA senior scientist who runs probably the most accurate measure of world temperature. Professor Ross McKittrick, an expert reviewer of the last 3 reports of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And distinguished Professor John Christie, a former lead author of an IPCC report. I mean, these are very serious people. Plus, Stephen Koonin is a physicist and former Undersecretary for Science for President Barack Obama, a Democrat.
Who could have guessed?
And I am joined by Stephen Koonin. Steve Koonin, thank you so much for your time. Why did you and the other 4 experts behind this report actually agree to do it, when you must have known the climate industry and the media, they would really go for you?
Indeed. But, we are all 5 of us scientists who have long felt that the science was misrepresented to the public and the decision makers. And we wanted to do our best to set.
It's not that the science is misrepresented to the decision makers. The decision makers tell the scientists what to say. But the decision makers way, way up, not the small governments. They don't have no say. They have no power compared to, the people with the actual power, the people with the money.
The record straight.
Well, your report agrees on many points with what I'll call the consensus, the alarmist position perhaps, the position of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. You say, yes, global warming is real. Yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's caused in part by humans. Now tell us where you disagree with this consensus.
Well, 95% of our report, people have said, agrees with or is taken right out of the IPCC. It's just that there are aspects of what the consensus says that do not find their way to the public. For example, there are no detectable trends in the great majority of extreme weather types.
Who could have guessed?
The models that we use to project climates into the future are demonstrably deficient. They're in many ways all over the place in terms.
I heard about that about the year. In the early 2000s, I heard that. Like that all the climate models back then that were made were all wrong. They're all wrong. And that was 20 years ago.
In terms of what they project. And the projected impacts of future climate change, even using those deficient models, are minimal. And these are very important central points that are there in the report, but do not make their way to the public discussion.
You actually point out that the models tend to run hot, as in predict more warming than we've had. They're unreliable. A number are basing on false assumptions of how much emissions we're going to get. You actually predict almost the 1 degree less warming over the century than the IPCC model consensus. How important is that?
Well, to be clear, we don't predict. We simply cite and assess the work of others. But certainly, if the warming is a degree less than what the IPCC consensus says, that's a big deal.
And what about the climate disasters? I mean, every time we've got it right now, you know, we've got some algae blooming off the South Australian coast. Global warming, we get heavy rain, global warming, we get a drought, global warming.
Yeah, and all these things you had in the past. Like all the time. It's nothing special. Which is what you would knew if you know, would at least be somewhat interested in it and educate yourself. Just like, I don't know, watch a documentary. There are plenty of documentaries about climate change, nature, whatever, that show you, yeah, these things are normal. Because they're happening all the time. And they happened in the past all the time. They happened before humans even existed. Imagine that.
How much influence has man-made warming really had from the work that you've done in this report? How much has it really influenced the natural disasters we tend to see?
Yeah, you know, we have a very short memory for weather disasters. There's a lovely example we turned up having to do with the floods in Texas that we saw at the beginning of July that were a terrible tragedy. But if you look back in the records, you can find the same kind of event happening in the same place in 1900. And of course,
Who could have guessed?
human influences on the climate were much smaller in 1900. And so you have a very hard time logically attributing the recent disaster to carbon dioxide. The same is true for many other severe weather phenomena. They happen in the past. They're just relatively rare, and so we get surprised when we see them happen in the present day.
Told you. Just like a volcanic eruption. A volcano can be sleeping for hundreds of years, thousands even, and then it breaks out. People will be surprised by it because, oh my god, when was the last time that happened? 5,000 years ago. Oh. Oops. But why now? Ooh. It just happened. That's just nature.
Yeah, I noticed, for instance, in your report, you say the number of heat waves in America actually peaked nearly 100 years ago. The number of
This is so stupid. Really? This is literally funny.
heat waves that was striking America at the time, and what we see now, all right, you know, is much less.
Wait, heat wave index? Oh. Now, I wonder what the index is telling me. Is that the degree over... is this the degrees over average temperature? Or what does that tell me? Because I have no idea. Or is there days inside of a heat wave? I don't know. Per year, I would guess.
The damning thing about the heat waves is that we really don't understand why the 30s was so much warmer than it was in many subsequent decades. And that speaks to our rather poor understanding of the way in which the climate varies.
Now, your report, I think what the real thing that's annoying so many people in the climate industry is this. You say the warming will be less than what most people are claiming. You say the disasters from the warming we've seen are basically exaggerated. They're not that many that you can point to. And the attempts we make to stop all this are very expensive. And, well, do they really work? The takeout here, isn't it, that it might not actually be worth trying to stop what isn't the disaster, the climate disaster that many claim.
Absolutely. You know, in deciding what to do, we have to balance the hazards, the certainties and uncertainties in the changing climate against other considerations, like the world needs more and more energy. And deciding what to do, you have to look at the costs. Are they going to be effective? What about equity between generations, between countries, and so on? It's not simply that, oh my God, we've broken the climate and we've got to fix it. And I think people get annoyed when we start to expose those nuances of the situation.
Oh, yes. So you've really offended in church.
Yeah, because if you look actually into it, all this man-made climate thing, that's literally a religious cult, because they behave like that. You can't talk to these people. Like literally, you can't, because they are so into what they believe, and everything you say, it's heresy. These people are literally insane.
Of course, you also stress what's undeniably true. The greening of the planet is actually a benefit of extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. More trees, more plants, more food.
Yes.
Agricultural yields have, in fact, doubled over the last 60 years or so. And a good fraction of that, NASA says 75%, is attributable to higher carbon dioxide levels. You know, if you look inside a hothouse, we put the carbon dioxide levels typically up to about 1,200 parts per million, which is just about 3 times what you find in the atmosphere even now.
Yes. And if you would, all these efforts to lower the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, if we would lower it to half, all the plants would start to die. Fun fact that no one knows. And I only know it because I have seen a video last year, I think, from a discussion in the American Senate. Very interesting. I didn't know that. And for example, Venus has a carbon dioxide percentage in the atmosphere. I think it's let's go with CO2 in the atmosphere of 95-ish%. The planet is hot as hell, right? It's super hot. Now Earth has less than 1%. The climate here is, well, nice. Mars, cold as hell. How much CO2 does that atmosphere has? Basically the same as Venus. So just percentage-wise, CO2 in the atmosphere doesn't matter when it comes to how warm a planet is. Because Mars and Venus are about the same. One is hot as hell, the other one cold as a single mother's ass. Why? Because it doesn't matter. CO2 doesn't matter. Has zero effect.
Now, you've come under massive attack, of course, Steve Koonin. I mean, environmental groups are even suing to censor the report. You've got media outlets of the left demonising you, running so-called fact checks. I've had a look at a few and they're not persuasive. Some climate scientists are abusing you, claiming, the group of you are just hand-picked skeptics even though you used to be with the Obama administration. Have there been any criticism?
Yeah, but that's typical for the left. They attack everyone, even the people that were on their side, or even people that are on their side right now, because they are a cult. They are completely brainwashed retards. It's that simple. I mean, I believed in man-made climate change completely, and then I learned more and more about it. And the moment you understand some things, other things make no sense. Like, why are we preserving water in toilets in Germany? We have rain all the time. Well, all the time. We never have actually, oh my God, there is no water. Now, the farmers have that problem sometimes when there's a 1 month heat wave without rain, sure. But that's not the populace. We still have water. Even if the water is low in the rivers, there's still water. I've never seen a river running dry in Germany. Ever. I'm almost 43 years old. Soon, this month. And I have seen droughts, I have seen floods. I remember when I was a kid, the Rhine was flooding every year. Why? Because all the snow in the mountains would melt. And then you would have floods. That was completely normal. And it would still be if there would be more snow in the mountains. But there isn't. If that comes back, then we will have, floods, more floods again. That's just nature. But I also remember that back in the 90s, the Rhine would freeze. By the way, for the ones who don't know, the Rhine is the biggest shippable river in Germany. It's actually really important for the industry, which is dying, but that's not the point here. And I remember it was in winter, it was so cold that the Rhine would freeze. Doesn't happen anymore. But I also know 200 years ago, the Rhine would completely freeze so deeply that literally in Cologne, they had the Christmas market on the ice of the Rhine, like on the Rhine, on the river. No, that didn't happen for, I don't know how many hundreds of years. I mean, almost 200, of course. But, and that's just how it is. And also, 200 years ago, there was snow in the summer. You had years without harvest because it was that cold. So you don't want it as cold as it was directly before the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, because it was so cold that you had years without harvest. What would the vegans eat? Nothing, because there is nothing. They would just die. Now, some people would say good riddance, but you have to be careful. But yeah, if there's no food growing, what do people eat? Nothing. And that's what happens if it's too cold. There's no food growing. Very, very simple.
Of your report that you think, yep, that's fair enough, we've goofed here, or we haven't taken this into consideration? Any criticism you think you should take on the chin?
Well, we've seen one already that, we made basically a typographical error in one of the footnotes. And we have acknowledged that to the person who pointed it out. And of course, we will fix it. But, we're refraining right now from looking in detail at the criticisms till they come in the next couple of weeks through the public portal. And then, as we have promised, we will deal with every serious criticism seriously. And like good scientists, we will modify the report as might be warranted from those criticisms.
Steve Koonin, you've been fighting the alarmism for some time now. This is, I think, your weightiest blow against the scaremongering. So congratulations and thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Let today's story be a cautionary
Stop it.
tale.
Stop it. I want to show you something while we are at it. Generating answer. In 2004, the estimated population of polar bears in the Barents Sea was around 2,650. Sea population was approximately by the southern Beaufort 900. However, the overall global population of polar bears was estimated to be between 22,000 and 31,000, with significant declines noted in certain regions due to environmental changes. Wait a minute. I remember very, very certainly in 2004 they said there were 4,000 polar bears. I remember that number very, very clearly. Global estimates. Global population of polar bears was estimated to be between 20,000 and 31,000 individuals. The population trend at that time was considered unknown. The population trend at that time was considered unknown? Hello? If the population was unknown, why weren't they then considered endangered? Why did they... Factors affecting population, blah blah blah. These figures highlight the challenges polar bears faced in 2004, particularly due to environmental changes and human activities. Let's see. Polar bear population in 2025. No, not 15. 25. World population, polar bear population, WWF. Yeah, you can trust them. New population estimates signal troubles for Alaska's polar bears. Isolated populations are more at risk that How tracking 60 years of polar bear data is revealing climate. I swear to God, the last number I've seen for polar bears was from 2012. It was a Norwegian study. They have counted 32,000 polar bears and counted, not estimated, counted, which of course is more than 2,000 in 2004. But the AI doesn't give me, where it would be, and I can't find shit. You know what? Let's look at this side. The current state of polar bear population. According to the IUCN Polar Bears Specialist Group, there are approximately 22,000 to 31,000 polar bears in the wild, divided across 19 distinct subpopulations. Blah 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 blah. And the remaining 12 have insufficient data for definitive trend analysis. This varied response challenges simplistic narratives about polar bear decline, though scientists emphasize that the overall outlook remains concerning. And really, from when is this? 2025? Makes no sense. I wonder who funds these people. About us. Oh, I see. A bunch of white people. Would at Google. Oh, okay, yeah. No, I don't trust them at all. Featured in. Okay, yeah, they're, of course. Yeah, they're untrustworthy. Never trust the mainstream media. Yeah. Polar bear population according to Norwegian government. Okay, we do differently. Fuck you, DuckDuckGo. Stupid slut. Norway. No. Norwegian completes polar bear census in 2005. About 3,000 polar bears live around the Arctic Barents Sea. Okay, now we are at something. Hey Jesse, get Norway out of here. No, I can't. I'm doing a video. Polar bear population and their curious behavior. Global polar bear population larger than previously thought. Here we go. The results of 3 recently released studies that were not included in the last assessment add more than 2,500 bears on average to the official 2015 global polar bear estimate, a point you won't likely hear next Monday from most polar bear specialists, conservative organizations, their cheerleaders, and corporate sponsors on International Polar Bear Day. NASA, why would I care about the NASA? 2005, 2,500 average official. 2015, 28,500. Adjusted to account for recent surveys. Update March 2019. Sweden is better. Latest global polar bear abundance, best guess, estimated is 39,000. Something between 26,000 and 58,000. So there is more polar bears. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? You want to know what happened at school today? Oh my god. The fingers on the internet? Better not. Better not while I'm streaming. But actually, there's not a lot of people watching anyway, so sure. More polar bears did a text about them today. Oh, okay. Yeah, this Discord exists too. Yeah. As long as it's not TOS, is everything okay? Okay, then do it on Discord. Ah. And we will go to the next video. But what will we... Man, there are actually a couple of Bellular videos that I want to watch. Let's watch this because pretty face.
Let today's story be a cautionary tale. A company that absolutely screwed over their most hardcore fans to please the market has now been kind of dumped and punished by the market. Capcom, they will not be loyal to you. Okay, let's get into the story. No one's particularly happy about Monster Hunter Wilds right now. On Steam, the recent user reviews...
Oh my god. This is bad. I mean, I only had heard good things about the game, and now I see this. What did they do? Are they really that stupid? Well, it's Capcom. Of course they are.
They're 17% positive. Devs are clearly frustrated enough to move entire content updates forward by a month. And now, even the people Capcom wanted to please the most have turned on them. That's because the stock market, investors, and shareholders are no longer that happy. Because after releasing Monster Hunter Wilds with weaker optimization in PC, Capcom are reaping the rewards of their sales cratering by 95%. It's a pretty big number. Now, I'm a game.
It is a really big number, 95%. Jesus Christ. If you had a 95% chance to be run over if you cross the street, you wouldn't do that.
You're a gamer, and you know what we're like. So, my fellow gamers, come to the front of the class, it's time for a lesson. Part of this is how I went from awful sleep to fantastic sleep, and how today's sponsor, Manta Sleep, has been a huge help in that. So,
okay, we're gonna skip.
477,000. That is the number that VGC spotted in Capcom's first quarterly investor report. Oh, it's a good number, because it's the number of copies of Monster Hunter Wilds that just...
Why the hell is he talking so silently right now?
Sold. So just shy of 500,000. But you need to compare that to the slightly over 10 million from the first month. It is a 5% increase, and it's one that Capcom themselves say is, quote, soft. Which does seem kind of apt, and VGC notes something else here. Even the previous title, Monster Hunter Rise, sold 389,000 copies during the same period. Comparing the release dates, in no way should think.
But that can just be, you know, everyone already had the game because they were all looking forward to it. That can be just like that. You know, everyone that wanted that game basically already bought it. Of course, it falls down after that. It just might be dead.
Things look like that. Now, we've been talking about this since the launch, right? There were widespread complaints across all platforms, but especially in PC. And those complaints do actually filter through to potential buyers, especially because PC is heavily concentrated in Steam, and those user scores have been red for a long time. But before we dive into why these numbers crashed, we need to talk about how the people Capcom chose to pursue did not save them in the end. Before this game launched, we flagged something absolutely crucial. Capcom released Monster Hunter Wilds to plug an incredible gap in their balance sheet, and it's kind of amazing. What they basically did was a massive gamble that required humongous sales numbers, but not impossible sales numbers for a series as popular as Monster Hunter. It was a risky gamble, but it is one that initially paid off. And by paid off, I don't just mean the sales. The reward after the financial year was literally the highest stock price that Capcom has ever had. Now,
but that doesn't mean a lot. Because stock market prices are always inflated until the market crashes. When the market crashes, then everything is fine.
just so that you understand this, they basically had been posting like 10% growth a year, right? And they'd be doing this for a decade. And essentially, to not break the streak, they needed to make a shitload of money really quickly. And that is basically why Monster Hunter on PC was simultaneous shipped, obviously to the great detriment of the game. So that was really good. Happy stock market. But of course, the consequence of this was really bad long-tail sales. And after Capcom reported those sales, their stock fell nearly 10%. Now, it still is among their highest figures ever, but it's a noticeable drop. Basically, the line did not go up. And what I like here is that a company has actually been appropriately punished. I mean, we can be very critical of the market, and
Is this all just about sales?
a lot of the short-termist incentives. This is an example, though, where the short-term thing they did has obviously been bad for shareholder value. Because you care about shareholder value, you probably want lots of copies of Monster Hunter to sell for a long time. But no, Capcom had to go and cock it all up. Now, they had spent the last 10 years playing it incredibly safe, posting consistent, constant growth, stable development platforms, stable tech, lots of really good releases, and developers actually being able to deliver in franchises both big and small. And they were rewarded with incredible sales growth and a nice solidly increasing stock price. And they absolutely did benefit from Monster Hunter Wilds getting out the door with absolutely shit PC optimization, but it does seem that it was not in the long-term benefit. So let's get to the sales figures. Sales normally drop over launch, that's a guaranteed thing, but to drop this much, this fast, especially for this franchise, it is worth interrogating. And I'll start with what's the most obvious answer. It's that maybe Wilds simply hit its total addressable audience at launch. It has a 7.
So just that, as I said, most people that wanted to have the game bought it when it released, and then there was a big drop off because almost everyone already had the game. Is this it?
$70 base price, kind of steep, and it only went on sale once and only at 20% off. So that's a high bar for purchasers who are on the fence. So the total addressable audience at this current price maybe had been capped out. I mean, certainly it's a game you won't be taking a gamble on when better reviewed games exist. Rise and World are actually available on the very same platforms with far more content. So with no new incentive at that price and no societal pressure from public enjoyment, nothing really moves the needle on Capcom's sales figures yet. Though admittedly, Capcom will have Monster Hunter Stories 3 and Resident Evil Requiem coming. Now those will pad out their balance sheet to be a little bit more healthy this year, with those
I completely forgot that Resident Evil was from Capcom. Like, completely. Who did I thought it was coming from? I don't know.
new releases, they won't be in a position of like needing just for their catalog sales to prop the business up. But what is notable is that right after this call, Capcom released the $75 7-disc soundtrack as DLC in Steam.
What?
Maybe that will raise some revenue. I kind of doubt it. But compared to the rest of the catalog, it is especially harsh. Devil May Cry 5 sold 1.78 million. Resi Village and 4 both outsold Wilds at 923,000 and 706,000 respectively.
Unit sales ranking. What? Monster Hunter Wilds only sold 477,000 units? That's not a lot. Compared to their other games. That's really not a lot.
And even Street Fighter 6 sold 538,000 units, the latter almost certainly being thanks to the Switch 2 launch. For the Resident Evil increase, we can maybe think that's Requiem's reveal getting people hyped again, but then there's Devil May Cry's outsized impact, which is pretty much being put entirely on the new Netflix animated series being a hit and getting 5.3 million viewers. Again, regardless of whether existing series fans enjoyed it, clearly a shitload of people saw Devil May Cry and ended up buying this game. And Monster Hunter already got its movie. The less we...
There was a Monster Hunter? Oh right, there was a Monster Hunter movie. I remember that it exists. I remember. Of course I haven't watched it, because why would I?
Say about that, the better, I would say. Not least because the bigger story here is about library availability and accompanying price drops during sales, because those things are key to drawing in new audiences. But you also get new audiences need positive sentiment towards your games. Because
come on.
accompanying price drops during sales, because those things are key to drawing in new audiences. But you also get new audiences
I hate this.
need positive sentiment.
Positive sentiment. Hot chicks. Hot chicks cause positive sentiment. From gamers. Now feminists hate it. But why would anyone care what feminists think? Might have crashed out. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Towards your games. Because despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, people aren't that stupid. Based on Capcom reporting that over 50% of their American sales were on PC, well, we know how important PC is to Capcom's Monster Hunter Wilds sales.
50% in the US, that's a lot.
So, what do you do then when your review score is threatening to drop below 50% lifetime, and when your overwhelmingly negative reviews are sitting at a lovely 86% negative? Well, if you're Capcom looking at this, you're going to have to try some sort of unconventional plan, because technical fixes take time. And the good news is, we actually have got some confirmation of what those plans are. Game director Yuya Tokuda posted this message to players, and in it, he apologizes for the time that improvements are taking, but more importantly, he did confirm some major changes. So, they're moving features from late September to early August. They're hoping that will placate people. That means 9-star monsters for HR 100+ players, it means new appraised talismans with random weapon skills, and it means balance changes being expanded from 5 weapons to 11 weapon types, and those are all upward adjustments. He also admitted something kind of critical. The Title Update 2's downward adjustments were way too far. Basically, they tried to balance the game better, but they just ended up making certain playstyles that people liked less viable. So now they're reversing course for a bunch of weapon types. But if you want a sign of just how hurriedly this planning is, well, the August 13th patch date kind of does confirm it. It's actually so early that Tokuda even apologized that Support Hunter adjustments wouldn't be ready in time. So they're clearly rushing content out to address player anger. I mean, why else do you pull features forward this much, even though doing so absolutely does risk the quality of your delivery? Now, as for PC optimization, he acknowledged
Yeah, they are kind of panicking. That looks like panicking to me.
the elephant in the room. So they've reduced anti-cheat processing load by 90%, but real CPU load reduction won't actually come until the 4th title update this winter, which is months away. That's absolutely going to sting. And obviously there's
Good night, Jesse.
lots of risk here. If these systems that are pulled forward don't land with people or introduce bugs, then Capcom will have rushed content for no huge benefit. But at least we're seeing some open communication here, and it might be paying sort of dividends. I mean, whenever we started doing this video, it was 16% recent reviews. Now it's 23%, so yeah, you know, only up from here. But there's one thing.
Oh boy.
There's one thing Capcom really does want to go up, maybe even more. That's revenue. Now, how are you going to get more revenue when this is really a game that people should not be buying for quite some
By Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh.
time? The answer, my friends, is very simple. It's what every game does. Boobs. Okay,
Oh.
no. Abs.
I wish. I mean, this looks great.
Other bit. Everything that people like, shown off by Digital Swimwear. Yeah, basically, they're pulling a Marvel Rivals. If you need your numbers to go up, then just sell people swimwear for their...
Yes. Yes. It works very well. I mean, the only reason I played Marvel Rivals were the hot chicks. And that's why I also stopped playing the game, because I don't care about the game. I only care about hot chicks.
characters, because those always sell. Now, admittedly, this one is paired with 3 weeks of free in-game activities and rewards, which is pretty good. It was probably also planned well before any chaos began, but it will likely sell well regardless. And I guess it makes one thing pretty damn clear. If you are an aspiring game developer, simply just make money by selling swimwear in your game.
Yes.
Works every time, apparently. With all this going on,
Of
people
course.
are kind of worried that they'll just like forget about the game and move on to the next thing because basically it's FUBAR, there's no point. Well, we actually know Capcom are not giving up in this game. They're being very specific and very open that they know PC players are not happy. But of course, knowing and then being able to do something about it, those are two different things. And while the development team is trying to get the game running acceptably in PC, they also need to address the gameplay complaints, which span every game version. And then overarching all of that, there's Capcom's demands for the game to make as much money as it can as a product. But the real question is how much work Capcom will need to do before then. How do they convince players that the expansion is coming for a base game that is changed, that is actually better? And in a world where a performance as bad as this one makes all of us look to the other scout.
What do we feel? Still what's like, you know, crashes with everything on low. Oh, would recommend Monster Hunter World until issues are fixed. Don't change Proton versions too many times or else Denuvo will lock you out of playing the game you paid for 24 hours. Great. Disappointing update. No performance fixes after months. You know what's funny? If the game would be just single player, then you wouldn't need Denuvo. Would be way easier.
Skeletons in the closet, like some of the silly monetization they do, or as an example, Dragon's Dogma 2 being broken for way longer than it should have. Guess you do just wonder, is the camel's back broken? Is that why there are less sales? Well, in a good world, the camel's back maybe should be broken. There probably should be real punishment over such a big letdown. But here's the thing. Call of Duty still sells. It sells massively. And I have a slight little suspicion that Andrew Wilson's Mad Lads will probably not do a Wild Hearts 2 to try and take this series out. Because it's EA, and I think they're basically terrified of everything by now.
They don't make.
What was this video about? The game doesn't sell as good as the company wants it? Is that all? That was a nothing burger. We already watched this video.
Let
Weeks
today's
ago.
story be a cautionary.
Weeks ago. Yeah, we have seen this video weeks ago. Let's watch something else. Let's watch this one. From Mr. Jarhead. I finally understand the heartbreak behind Half-Life. Oh. Does he?
Half-Life 1 released in 1998 and
Loud noises. Jesus.
changed the world. The long-awaited sequel released 6 years later, again to overwhelming praise. Fans needed more Half-Life, and they needed it ASAP. So Valve devised the perfect plan to keep fans from waiting monolithic amounts of time for new installments. With this brilliant scheme, Half-Life 2 was scheduled to be continued and concluded in 3 epic episodes. Wait, but there's only...
Yes. Yes. And it literally broke my heart. I waited years for episode 3 until it was very clear that it would never come. And it was... Episode 2 ended on such a massive cliffhanger. Man, it really makes me angry and sad. More sad than angry. For a lot of reasons. One reason is I want to see Alex again. I really like Alex. And of course, you know, Half-Life 2 is great. And episode 2 was great. Episode 1, not so much, but episode 2 was great.
Oh, fuck. Before we get into all 3 episodes of Half-Life 2, because there's totally 3 episodes, I'd like to first thank you all for your incomprehensible support on the last video. Leave a comment for a chance to be featured in the next video, and my biggest thanks go to my patrons Stin, Dotman, Angel, The Foe 3, Papa Noob 345, Dominic, and my newest patron, Kevin. Episode 1 is all about completing one overarching objective: escape City 17.
We did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
And the episode
Yes.
kicks off right where we last left things at the G-Man's intervention at the end of Half-Life 2. However, the Vortigaunts also appear to save both you and Alex, which does not please the Magic Man.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we will.
You then wake to find yourself rescued by Alex and Dog right outside the Citadel, and catch a transmission from Eli and Kleiner warning you that the Citadel could blow at any moment, just like Eli wishes you would in his daughter. But you don't have time to get a
Which, by the way, is true. Alex's father is actually, you know, hey, how about her? In Half-Life 2, he literally is trying to set them up. And yes, Alex wants it. It's very clear that Alex wants Gordon. Very clear. The way that she looks at him, she interacts with him, it's very, 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 very clear. It only could be clearer if she would just undress in front of him. Like, literally.
away from the Citadel before being completely vaporized, so Gordon and Alex have to venture back inside to the Citadel's core to temporarily stabilize
This
it to buy more time for them.
this thing back in the day, and it still looks so awesome. It's so beautiful. Like back then, when I entered the room and I saw the sphere, I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome." Because I can't remember if I've ever seen anything like that before in the game. So I was like, "Oh my god, this is great." And it still, by the way, looks incredibly good.
And their fellow citizens to escape the city. Question is, how are you supposed to re-enter the Citadel? Simple, really. Eventually, you find a
Yeah, that sequence was crazy.
recording of Breen's dialogue with a Combine advisor about being transferred into a host body. And suddenly you see an advisor pod being sent to the top of the Citadel as the creature scrambles your brains just by being in the vicinity of it. That's gotta be the host body Breen was talking about being transferred to, right? I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence they would show that dialogue here and then that right after. Anyway, I do really enjoy navigating the imploding Citadel. The atmosphere is top-notch with it bursting at the seams, forcing you to watch your every move and keep your head on a swivel at all times. Plus, the super gravity gun returns, which is a blast. And I also really enjoy some of the new elements you can experiment with the gravity gun here, like reverse engineering these homing bombs to spike your foes with, and the incredible
Yeah, which is fun. Also, you work together with Alex, which is always nice.
ragdolling, of course, only accentuates the fun. Venturing deeper into the structure, you encounter more soldiers and come to the realization that they're purposely trying to accelerate the destruction of the Citadel in order to send some sort of distress call back to the Combine overworld for reinforcements. So you bulldoze your way through more soldiers and stabilize the core, buying everybody some more time to evacuate the city, as well as hold off the Combine's distress signal for a little bit longer. You also receive a transmission from Judith, who's in the Arctic now, and on the way out snag a transmission packet which contains coordinates to the Combine homeworld. The gravity gun goes back to
Nice.
normal. Fuck this, I'm glad Half-Life's dead. And then we hitch a ride on a train. Valve loves trains, which will take us straight out of the city.
God, we're not on foot.
Yeah, ditto.
Let's hope the worst is over.
Alex, stop talking. Thank you.
Looks like you saved our lives again.
Alex, I appreciate that, but shut up! God damn it! Down, boy! Down! So, what do you know?
She jinxed it.
Now it's on foot, once again, as we attempt to flee City 17, first having to get out of the zombie-infested subways below. Subway. Here, the gravity gun continues to take center stage, using it plenty as a weapon and clogging up antlion nests to prevent them from spawning. And you'll also be dealing with some old freaks and some new freaks.
A Combine zombie. That's like a zombine, right?
You would think living in a post-apocalyptic world, she would have humor. But she's bad at humor.
Zombine, get it?
I'll be honest, I thought of the exact same joke before she said it. Once you reach the surface, you get a good look at how completely unraveled City 17 has become. Antlions run the streets, the sky is the Canadian wildfires all over again, and most prominent is the slow death of the Citadel before your very eyes. Dr. Kleiner can also be heard over speakers explaining that all Combine portals and communication systems are currently on the fritz, stranding the remaining forces on Earth, for now at least. He also commands everybody to start fucking.
Yes, he does. He literally does. Which is really funny. And the reaction to the people in the game to that is also really amusing. It's great. I love it.
Yes, really.
A more fortunate side effect of the reactor's destruction is the complete removal of the Combine's reproductive suppression field. For those so inclined, now would be an excellent time for procreation.
Look, I know Kleiner's the one technically saying it, but we all know those orders are straight from Eli.
Gordon, please, just come on, my daughter.
You finally reach the evacuation site and look to safely escort as many citizens as possible during the Combine ambush, which goes mostly fine? Oh, shit. Okay, I guess we'll just move.
To be fair, running after Alex is not the worst thing.
Move on without him, yeah? Woo! Good work, team. Last but not least, you and Alex gun it for the train, but suddenly a Strider shows up. This final stretch is seriously great, though, as this is easily the most tense Strider encounter in the series so far. I mean, it's only like the third one, but still, whatever. With nobody to help you, you have to sneak through these big containers and along the walls of the station, not just taking cover from the Strider and its various cannons, but also from Combine soldiers above, not to mention the mines everywhere. It's a super dramatic section and a perfect mix of stealth action platforming, and ultimately bringing the spider-like bastard down was rewarding as all hell.
Oh yes, it was.
You're my new hero.
The two of you board the train and
I always was her hero. Well, Gordon was. Not me, sadly.
And finally make it out of City 17 alive. You got nothing to say about that? A portal rips open above the Citadel as the Combine finally send out that transmission, and tons of advisors are simultaneously released from the tower, and in a blinding flash of light, the story ends. For now. Look on.
Which was a good end. To be fair, it was a good end. A cliffhanger, of course, but a good end.
Honestly, there's not a whole lot that I felt I needed to say about episode 1, which kind of makes sense. If episode 1 is like the first act of this continuation of the story, then episode 2 would be act 2, and episode 3 would be non-existent. But there's really not a whole lot episode 1 adds or does too differently from the main game. Sure.
Which is very true. Very, very true.
There's a bit more focus on the gravity gun, but the only real big difference here is that Alex accompanies you for the whole game, which is really nice because her involvement in Half-Life 2 definitely felt quite limited. But yeah, I mean, otherwise...
Yes, but every time she was there, it was nice. It was nice.
Otherwise, it's more Half-Life. What more can you really ask for? It does exactly what this section of the story really needs to do to continue things moving forward. But with that said, episode 2 is so much better. It's not even close. Episode 2 picks up with Gordon waking up on the derailed train and rescued by Alex, but no dog in sight this time. I want my money back. From the forest you wake up in, you can see the ruins of the Citadel from afar as a giant portal emanates from it. These portal storms, as Alex recalls them, occurred all across the planet shortly after the Black Mesa incident and are exactly what allowed the Combine to travel to Earth in the first place. So closing that portal is essential to holding any more Combine forces at bay once and for all. You eventually stumble upon this communication center and attempt to get a message out to Eli.
Here we go.
did I do that?
Hey, if you have any blinding insights into how to fix this, go for it. Not sure
Of
what
course.
I did, but it worked.
Oh yeah, sure, fine, you did it, whatever. You get in contact with the lads at the
Whatever.
White Forest Resistance Camp, and they explain that this portal is currently in the infant stages of becoming a super portal. And if it grows into one, it'll be the 7-hour war all over again. Luckily, that transmission packet we stole is the key not just to the Combine overworld, but could also be used to shut down the portal for good. So, the mission is clear. Let's get that transmission packet up to the guys at White Forest. What the fuck? An antlion approaches ready to feast on Alex's corpse, but luckily a Vortigaunt saves her at the last possible second. It's been 10 minutes, and I'm already liking this episode much more than episode 1. Alex is in grave condition, so the Vort summons his brothers to help restore her health.
I still remember how shocked I was when I saw that Alex was getting stabbed. That was like really wow.
Let us hurry.
Jesus Christ.
Help awaits us in the mine.
No! Actually, they really weren't that bad last time, so we'll probably be fine. Fuck! These aren't just any ordinary mines you'll be stumbling your way through. These are antlion caves, and they're filled with their larvae, which actually heal you if you squish them. It's very satisfying. There's even some new antlion variations here, which spit on you like the little slut you are. You eventually reach a
Why? Why? Why did he has to say it like that? And I'm the one that spits, not that gets spit on.
small rebel outpost in the mines occupied by more blabbering oaf resistance members. Meet Sheckley and Tuco Salamanca. Here the Vortigaunt tends to Alex, so until the other Vorties can convene with us, you just kick back and chill out with the guys for a bit.
Hey, Doc. On your way here, you weren't followed, were you?
Don, listen to him, Doc. We're on edge because this place is riddled with antlions.
The Vort says as long as we don't step on their grubs, they shouldn't hear us this far from the nest.
What?
Sheckley! What? Forget it.
What was the point of this interaction? These guys...
Banter.
Guys crack me up. I love them so much. Things continue to get better and better as the other Vortigaunts show up and fight alongside you against the final wave of antlions in an all-out war. Finally, with the antlion
that find, to be quite fair, was awesome. Even if I barely remember it, but it was awesome.
Decided we can attend to Alex. With her injuries as severe as they are, however, the Vortigaunts require a deeper submersion into their vortessence, which can only be channeled with
the larval extract. Oh, yes. The extract.
Naturally, the other Vortigaunts will stay behind to keep Alex stabilized while we venture off with one of the other Vorts deeper into the antlion caves to retrieve that precious secretion.
This body is yours to command.
Oh, I think you want my extract too. The Vortigaunts...
Jesus Christ, why do you have to make it this way? Because it's funny. Because it's funny, of course.
Are seriously the best companions in the world. Is there a mod that allows you to play Half-Life 2 with one of them as a companion the entire time? Can someone please make that a thing if it's not already? Unfortunately, the two of you are forced to part ways as this elevator that goes deeper into the mines is out of order. The tension reaches a fever pitch here as you navigate the caves, all the while being hunted by an antlion guardian, which you can't kill, otherwise the extract is rendered useless, so your only option is to hide or run, which doesn't work too well. It's so fucking intense hearing the Guardian's heavy footsteps rapidly approaching behind you. I wish I was recording myself here because my headphones literally flew off my head from how bad I jumped. Finally, you reunite with your Vortigaunt companion.
Yeah, that sequence was really, really, really scary. I hated it. I really hated it. But the cave is really nice looking. For, you know, a cave.
And retrieve the extract. The Vortigaunts ask you to join them in reviving Alex, and like KFC, they begin peeling off her skin.
Dr. Freeman,
I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart, but I had to wait until your friends were otherwise occupied. There was a time they cared nothing for Miss Vance, when their only experience of humanity was a crowbar coming at them down a steel corridor.
I remember that. I was that guy.
When I plucked her from Black Mesa, I acted in the face of objections that she was a mere child and of no practical use to anyone. I have learned to ignore such naysayers when quelling them was out of the question. Still, I am not one to squander my investments, and I remain confident she was worth far more than the initial appraisal. That's why I must now extract from you some small repayment owed for your own survival.
I completely don't remember that part. At all. Most likely because I was busy with the gameplay. Remembering that.
See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman. I wish I could do more than keep an eye on you, but I have agreed to abide by certain restrictions. Well, now, listen carefully, my dear. When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
Now I remember that.
This is easily my favorite G-Man scene in the whole series, because by this point it was
which is very understandable. That scene was awesome.
Established, okay, if you're gonna hear from him, it'll probably be at the end of the game, so that makes his appearance here completely unexpected, and the implications behind his appearance are more insightful and ominous than ever. Alex lives. For now. But to what end?
Good luck out there. Okay, Freeman. Be adequate.
What the hell does that mean, anyway?
I don't know. Sounds like something the Forge would say.
You know? He's not wrong. Continuing to venture north, you begin to run into more of the Combine's treacherous forces.
These are great enemies. They're awesome.
Like the hunters who ambushed Alex earlier outside the mines. It's really cathartic to get a bit of revenge on them here. Not only that, but after multiple teases since the end of Half-Life 2, you finally have unveiled before you the infamous Combine Advisor. The creature showcases its impressive telekinetic powers, crushing a barrel. It also uses what seems to be its tongue to pierce through the head of a dead rebel. This apparently allows advisors to instantly learn any information a person carries with them. Right as the advisor is about to do the same to you, the Grub's pod erupts from the damage you did to its life support moments ago, and flees in an instant. Due to this encounter, a ton of the Combine's forces are attracted to your location, the most inconvenient of which being a Combine chopper.
Since you brought that chopper in on your tail, you want to maybe help us take it down?
Oh, with pleasure.
Give sass, that's what you get, buddy. At long last, we have finally arrived at the White Forest camp, and I already want to leave.
We make a pretty good team.
Yeah, well, that's good, because, well, now that the suppression field's down, we all have to do our part.
Dad?
Can you
We told you. We told you.
blame an old man for wanting grandkids?
Eli, take a cold shower already! You also meet Dr. Magnuson in person for the first time. He's another Black Mesa scientist and is effortlessly one of the most unlikable people I've ever met.
I was just...
And by the way, a great character. That character is awesome. I really like the character. Yes, he's an unlikable douche, but he's a good character. And that's important.
Saying hello to Alex and Gordon.
Oh, fine. No one grants me a moment.
We learn here that the plan is to launch a rocket much like the one launched in Half-Life 1 to close the potential super portal looming above Earth. We also meet up with Eli and Kleiner to decode Judith's message from the North Pole, and also encrypted into the disk appears to be the location of the Borealis. A vessel property of Aperture Science.
Yes, that Aperture.
Oh. Wait a second. All I know is I'm the only thing standing between us and them. The way they interconnect Portal and Half-Life here is so cool. And to be able to put the pieces together like this now, having played Portal first, yeah, it's just really cool. I also love how Kleiner explains the Borealis lore like he's telling a fucking ghost story around a campfire.
We heard their research vessel had simply disappeared, vanished, with all hands, and even part of the dry dock.
What makes the Borealis special is that one day, as Kleiner said, it simply vanished without a trace, going from miles underground inside Aperture's facility beneath Upper Michigan, all the way up to the Arctic. Not only are its teleportation qualities obviously of note, but even more than that, there are allegedly even greater powers the ship possesses, or perhaps the ship carries greater powers within it. Knowing Aperture, you'd think something most likely linked to some sort of portal technology. Whatever the case, the Borealis could be exactly what the Resistance needs to put a permanent end to the Combine, as people like Dr. Kleiner believe. However, as Eli sees it, it could also pose an equal threat to humanity or the universe as a whole. Not only could it potentially create another Black Mesa level incident or worse, but also if it got in the hands of the Combine, they could use it to bring reinforcements to Earth. Eli's already a bit on edge about all of this, and suddenly Alex utters 4 words that send him over it.
Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
What did you say?
Dad! Okay. It's okay. Just lean into me. Let's get you off your feet.
Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when you whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend.
That's, by the way, the first time anyone ever in the series talks about the G-Men with Gordon. To Gordon. The first time.
When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't. The whole world went to hell that day. And now he's using my little girl. Putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons.
Of course.
Gordon, there's so much I need to tell you. Between us, we may finally have a chance.
Here you go.
Man, all this potential. All the things that we don't know because, you know, the story happened the way it happened.
Is everything all right?
There's nothing, honey.
All right, people, change of plans. There is no way we can launch before those Striders are... Oh, excuse me if I'm interrupting tea time.
God, he's such a prick. I love and hate him at the same time. We're in the final...
Yes, exactly. That's what makes him a good character.
Final stretch now. If we let even one Strider hit our rocket, the planet is doomed. Dr. Magnuson introduces us to his ingenious new weapon to counteract the Striders, a giant Semtex.
We call it the Magnuson device. Not my chosen label, you understand, but it seemed to please the personnel.
Fuck off. The plan is to use the gravity gun to launch...
I think you get why I like that character. I don't like him, but I like the character.
The sticky bombs at the incoming Strider army, and then shoot at the device to blow them to bits. Sounds simple enough. Okay. Maybe not. This last mission here is quite a bastard. In a good way. It's pretty challenging and a very climactic ending as it feels like the Combine's last desperate push to stop humanity. In the end, of course, good prevails as you fend off the horde of Striders and Hunters.
I feel compelled to thank you personally for saving my rocket.
Her face Her face says everything. This is so good. This is so amazing.
So, thank you.
Alright, dude, jeez, what do you want to fucking kiss? So we've held off the Combine army for the meantime, have a helicopter waiting for us to take to the Arctic to rescue Judith and see what the Borealis.
We are flying with a helicopter to the Arctic. From East Europe. Uh-huh. By the way, with East Europe, I mean Ukraine. This is playing in Ukraine.
Alice is all about, and the launch of the rocket was a success. The super portal has been neutralized. Things are going the best they've gone in a long time. I don't like it.
Gordon, thanks for everything you've done for Alex, for all of us.
Oh, I don't like the sound of
this. I couldn't be
this.
prouder if you were my own son.
Oh, I really don't like the sound of this.
I just wish all this didn't have to fall on you, Alex. Your mother would be so proud.
Eli, no, stop talking like that. Yup, that's it. That's the kiss of death.
Dad! Gordon! Dad!
Alex!
Dad! Oh. Get away!
Listen to me. Destroy that ship. Whatever it takes. Destroy it.
Don't! Dad, look out! No! Dad! Dad! God damn it, let go of him!
The sequence is so goddamn good. Man, I sadly don't remember how I felt having this happen the first time. Really sad, but it's great. Hey, Key.
Oh my god!
I love you, sweetheart. Close your eyes, honey.
I love you, Dad!
Don't look.
No! Oh my god, no! No! Gordon! No! Dad! How could... Dad!
And Doc saved the day, but he came too late.
Dad! Dad, please! Dad! Oh my god! No! No! Oh my god!
Man, that was so good.
Don't leave me.
This ending was heartbreaking in so many ways. Obviously, you're invested in the story, and to have Eli die and in the...
Not only in the story, I was invested in the characters. I really, really liked the characters. Like, I really did, because they were people. They weren't just, you know, scientist guy and engineer girl. They were people. They were written as people. And that's why I was invested in them.
Manner that he did is really fucking sad, especially because he's such a teddy bear. But of course,
Yes.
what's even more heartbreaking is that this is the end of Half-Life.
Yeah.
There was no episode 3. There is no Half-Life 3. I'd heard all about where's Half-Life 3 memes and discourse and whatever,
Yeah.
blah 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 for years. I was optimistically hoping, perhaps naively, that people were saying that so much simply because they love this series and feel there's more it has left in the tank, not because it was left on a cliffhanger. So...
Really? He didn't know? That was one of the main reasons why we were also sad. This massive cliffhanger.
To see it end on such a monumental cliffhanger, I was just in total denial. There's no way that's how it ends, but yeah, That's exactly how it ends. Granted, 13 years later, Valve released Half-Life Alyx, a virtual reality prequel to Half-Life 2, where the only part of the game that actually continues onward from episode 2 is the ending. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen the ending or played any of it yet. Personally,
The thing is, I would have bought and played Half-Life Alyx if it wouldn't be a VR game. I would have immediately bought it, like, without thinking, because it's Half-Life. I would have immediately. But it's VR, and I don't do VR. So, no Half-Life Alyx for me. Which is sad, like really sad.
I looked up the ending as soon as I was done episode 2 because I was on the fence about if I'd ever even play Alyx or not, and I just wanted to know, is this ending gonna give any sort of inkling that Half-Life 3 may be finally coming? So, without spoiling anything, all I'll say is you're left with even more questions, and 4
Of course.
years after the game's release, there's been no word on if we'll be getting any answers to any questions, old or new, anytime soon.
Actually, I have heard this year that maybe they are working on Half-Life 3 and Portal 3, but that was a couple months ago, and it was just one video that I have seen. So, don't quote me on that. Now, if they would bring out the Half-Life 3 or Portal 3, I would immediately buy them. Especially Half-Life 3, like, no questions asked, here's my money, give me. Immediately.
So, where is Half-Life 3? Yes, I've said it, we've come full circle. There's a lot that goes into understanding why we are where we are at the moment, so I apologize if this is a lot to follow. We're gonna go into a bit of an iceberg, and no, that actually wasn't supposed to be like a pun about the Arctic. About 6 months after Half-Life 2's release, Valve announced they would be following up Half-Life 2 with a project called Aftermath, and the next year announced they were renaming it to Episode 1, planning to wrap up Half-Life 2's story in a trilogy of episodes, releasing 1 episode per year. However, even following the release of Episode 2, Valve was very quiet about the precise future of Episode 3. Granted, there's plenty of interviews featuring Valve President Gabe Newell, aka Gaben, seen claiming that Valve still intends to wrap up this trilogy of episodes before reevaluating their approach to making games and the future of the Half-Life franchise as a whole.
We're going to be running this experiment on episodic content through Episode 3, and then we're going to sit down and say, so we had Episode 1, which was a little bit shorter, Episode 2 that's longer, came as part of the Orange Box with TF2 and Portal, and whatever we end up doing with Episode 3.
But as years passed, with still no Episode 3, the future of Half-Life became more and more uncertain.
Can you tell us anything about when we'll see Episode 3?
I'm not saying anything about Episode 3 or the other things that we haven't talked about.
I got nothing to say about Half-Life.
Well, it's not dead anyway.
I have nothing to say about Half-Life.
Hey, is that about ready?
These things, they take time.
So what happened? Why did Gabe go from working on Half-Life to working at the Skyforge? On the same day of Half-Life Alyx's release on March 23rd, 2020, IGN conducted an interview with level designer
IGN. Wow.
Dario Casali, a Valve employee since 1996. There's no singular reason why Episode 3 never came to fruition. It's really a web of issues that all come together, and at the core of it all, I believe comes down to this. Valve is maybe too ambitious for their own good. After working on Half-Life 2 for 6 years, we decided we didn't want to go dark for so long. That's why we started doing the episodes where we thought, well, we have the stable technology now, we understand the characters, we understand the story, we have most of the mechanics, let's just bite off little chunks and then release more often. And sure, Episode 1 was a success, but even so, Valve couldn't help themselves and pushed to make things bigger and better, despite these projects intended in the first place to be more readily available. We found ourselves creeping ever forward towards, well, Let's just keep putting more and more and more and more stuff in this game because we want to make it as good as we can. And then we realized these episodes are turning more into sequels. And hearing that, it makes a lot of sense why episode 2 feels so much more jam-packed than episode 1. As I said, episode 1 made some minor additions, but all in all was a pretty by-the-numbers continuation of Half-Life's story. There's not a whole lot from it that I feel super strongly about. Episode 2, on the other hand, introduced several new Combine forces, characters.
If you pull this off, I might just forgive you for that debacle at Black Mesa. You know the one I mean. Involving a certain microwave casserole.
My favorite part of this is that he's dead serious. Featured much more diverse and refreshing environments, and added a lot more lore. In another interview IGN conducted with Gabe Newell and Half-Life Alyx programmer and designer Robin Walker, Gaben said, Half-Life games are supposed to solve interesting problems. Dario Casali similarly stated that they were looking for what is going to make that next big impact after episode 2. But no matter what, whether it was episode 3, Half-Life 3, or even the scrapped Ravenholm game, Valve...
Wait, what? A Ravenholm game? I've never heard about that. Oh my god, the potential. Oh my god. Have mercy.
Just couldn't quite conjure up anything they were truly proud of. This is why it's so important to understand just how revolutionary each Half-Life title was. The incredibly interactive environments and advanced NPC AI changed not just the FPS genre, but revolutionized the whole idea of just what games could be, because every choice you made had an equal and opposite reaction.
You'd be sitting in a design review and somebody'd say, that's not realistic. And you're like, okay, what does that have, like, explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world, I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy. And I've never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun. And so we had to come up with some notion of what fun was. We knew it was an ad hoc definition, and it was the degrees to which the game recognizes and responded to the player's choices and actions. If you shoot at a wall, there have to be decals. If you kill a bunch of Marines, the Marines have to run away from you, right? You have to have this sense of the game acknowledging and responding to the choices and actions and progressions that you've made. Otherwise, it loses any sort of impact.
Half-Life 2 broke the gaming world once again thanks to Valve's new game engine it was built on, allowing for highly realistic object manipulation, more complex physics-based puzzles, character models were on point, featured vivid facial expressions, they even got lip syncing down to a T, and you can't...
Yes, and they still have the technology, to my knowledge, and I really hope they still use it.
Can't forget about Lost Coast, a playable cut section from Half-Life 2's Highway 17 that was used to demo the new high dynamic range rendering Valve was implementing to the Source engine. And again, plenty of this was far beyond what other games at the time were doing. And if Valve gave us Episode 3 at the time they originally intended to, with this technology they were already working with, like they said they were going to, I'm sure I and pretty much every other Half-Life fan would have been very pleased. But for as amazing as this tech was, Valve still felt limited. They knew they could do better, and were already looking to move on from the Source engine Half-Life 2 and its episodes were built upon. We see the fruits of their labor bared 13 years later with Half-Life Alyx.
This looks amazing. Just amazing.
It's VR do anyway.
Take over blast control, world government.
Half-Life Alyx, 4 years after its release, is still widely regarded as one of, if not the best virtual reality gaming experience. And I don't think
this looks so amazing.
I really need to explain why VR is a big deal. Plus, it was built on Valve's new Source 2 engine, the development of which was a big reason for the endless delay of Half-Life 3. The Source engine Valve worked with on Half-Life 2's prior episodes wasn't able to fulfill ideas the team had for Episode 3 to their fullest potential, and this was the crux of the issue for Valve. They didn't think Episodes 1 and 2 brought much innovation to the table that Half-Life 2 didn't already. So if they had the Source 2 engine now, the technology's clearly ready, why make a prequel? Why not make the proper Half-Life 3 everyone's been clamoring for? A big
My guess is they don't know what to do.
Reason for the abandonment of Half-Life 3, I believe, also has to come down to the story. I could be wrong, I haven't seen much online indicating this, but it just seems like Valve was never able to come up with a conclusion to the story that they were truly satisfied with. However, in 2017, not long after departing from Valve, the head writer of Half-Life, Mark Laidlaw, cryptically dropped Epistle 3, a letter from the point of view of Gertrude Fremont, used to divulge some of Laidlaw's ideas for what Half-Life 3 could have been, but never was. However, Laidlaw claims that Epistle 3 holds about as much weight as a fanfic and was nothing more than a gender-swapped snapshot of a dream I had many years ago, and according to him, was never officially planned to be the story, but for all we know, he's a dirty, stinky liar. Nevertheless, it's a fun little thought experiment, and it's interesting to wonder how things would have all come together in-game had this been the story for an official product. The original text is a bit girthy, so I'll just quickly give you the gist of it, and for clarity's sake, names of characters and locations have been adjusted to fit the Half-Life universe. Gordon, Alex, and a militia of Resistance members head to the Arctic to rescue Judith and uncover the Borealis. However, on their way, some mysterious forces brought down their helicopter. Venturing onward through the tundra to the supposed coordinates of the Borealis, the Resistance
What is this from? Must be a mod.
Is instead greeted by a fortified Combine nightmare. Suddenly, what seemed to be the Borealis slowly flickered in and out of existence. The coordinates provided by Mossman were not where the legendary vessel already was, but where it was expected to appear next. Alex and Gordon are captured by followers of the late Wallace Breen, whose consciousness was revealed to have been transferred into a chode. The grub fears Gordon, recalling the fate of its original body, and you have the choice of putting the new Breen out of his misery. Eventually, the duo find Judith, and Alex blames her for her father's death. Looking to carry out her late father's wishes, Alex looks to destroy the Borealis while Mossman seeks to use it to aid the Resistance. In a struggle soon after, Alex kills Judith, and she and Gordon arm the Borealis, creating a time-traveling missile headed straight for the heart of the Combine's command center. Suddenly, the G-Man appears and abducts Alex, leaving Gordon to die aboard the ship before he's saved by Vortigons and transported to a shore in the distant future. Expect no further correspondence from me regarding these matters. This is my final episode. Yours in infinite finality, Gordon. Jesus. It's pretty funny to think about because hypothetically, if this were episode 3, people would still be asking where's Half-Life 3 considering it's another massive cliffhanger.
Yes.
But since the story's publication, Laidlaw has gone on to show remorse for releasing it in the first place. I was deranged. There's really no other explanation. I think it caused trouble for my friends and made their lives harder. It also created the impression that if there had been an episode 3, it would have been anything like my outline, whereas in fact all the real story development can only happen in the crucible of developing the game. So what people got wasn't episode 3 at all. Epistle 3 wasn't the only fanfic Laidlaw posted online, as years prior, he ran an account called Breen Grub.
Of course.
This rabbit hole never fucking ends. The account posted a series of tweets from Breen's perspective adjusting to his new host body, including exposing that the advisors were just another species subjugated by the Combine, much like all the other species who were a part of their forces. This is something I didn't want to cover until we got to see more of the Combine's forces, but yeah, get this. Every Combine enemy you see is some form of another species they conquered and subjugated to be part of their army. So none of these guys are actually native to whatever the Combine homeworld is. As we know now, the Hunters, Advisors, Striders, and even gunships are all bioengineered creatures, also known as synths. Well, now I'm in the same boat as the rest of you miserable fucks, just hoping and praying that we get Half-Life 3 at some point, and honestly, I think we will. I'd be shocked.
I really hope. I love Half-Life. Like, Half-Life is one of the franchises that I really love. Like, how to explain it? I have as much love for Half-Life as I have for the works of Tolkien. And, you know, Tolkien is Tolkien. Tolkien is awesome. I think I've read everything, or almost everything, that Tolkien has ever written. Well, story-wise, you know, when it comes to Middle-earth stuff. And I really like that. I really have a love for Tolkien's stories and the way he tells them. And I have the same love for that, for Half-Life. I really do. I really want to see a happy end to this story. But as far as stories in Half-Life goes, never had a happy end in none of the games. Well, actually, in the second, yes, but it wasn't really the end, was it? So yeah, I really hope there's something coming.
Shocked if a true continuation wasn't already in the works, even if we haven't heard about it. You don't bring this franchise back in the fashion that you did after over a decade to not finish what you started. And I think virtual reality helped Valve gauge a better sense for where they want to go with Half-Life in the future. It'd be a real shame if this legendary series never got a proper conclusion. But with that said, it'd be an even bigger shame if the franchise were to come back and be fumbled at the very end. So Valve, continue to take your time, and know that whether it's fans since the beginning or newcomers to the franchise like myself, we'll be waiting. We'll be here when you're ready to change the world once again.
Yeah. I can't wait for it.
I hope.
Yeah.
Just please don't take too much longer. This franchise is almost 30 years old. A lot of the fans are probably dead now.
I'm 42. If they take another 10 years, I won't be here. I fear.
I feel compelled to thank you personally for saving my YouTube channel. In all seriousness, I just wanted to quickly take the time to say thank you so much for all the support so far this year on all of these Half-Life videos. I mean, they have gone crazy. You guys have gone crazy. It took me almost 10 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. And we just got 2,000 since the Half-Life 2 video. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. I know a lot of you have been screaming at me to play Entropy Zero, and I will one day, just not yet. I need a break from Half-Life. This is all I've been doing for like the last 6 months. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that you stick around for other stuff. Thank you so much for affording me your time and just giving me a chance. And I will see you guys again soon.
This was a great video. I really liked this one. It was awesome. And yeah, just like him, I'm still waiting for episode 3. Which will not come, it will be Half-Life 3. And of course, Portal 3. Now, what would be funny if, I mean, Portal and Half-Life are the same universe, we already know that. But what would be funny if they also bring out a new, how's it called? Their zombie game, part 3, and, that also is in the same universe. That would be really funny. And would bring out so many options. Yeah, this is awesome. I love this. This was great. But we're gonna watch this video next, but first I go and take a leak. I need to pour wine now. Oh boy. What a day. What a day. Oh man. Oof, let's get into an Artos video. Because boy oh boy. The street racer did something really stupid.
This YouTube street racer was almost arrested in Times Square after hitting a cop with his Lamborghini and barely getting away.
They looking for him. Chad, he's a wanted driver in 52 states. Now, if the police come, Chad, we taking off. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just get in. They're coming, they're coming. Oh, shit, no, get the. Oh, shit.
If you thought Times Square was just about tourists and a bunch of Elmo clones hustling selfies, think again, because earlier this month it turned out to something out of a set from a Need for Speed cutscene. A blue Lamborghini Urus driven by the YouTuber known as License plowed through the middle of New York, clipped a cop, and smashed into a pedicab, which is one of those like bicycle taxis, and sent Times Square into absolute chaos, all while the entire situation was being live streamed on Kick.com.
Oh yeah, he's done. He's done. The cops already know who he is. He's gonna go to jail.
The police officers were pounding on the car with their fists and batons, trying to break the windows and force the doors open. But License stayed calm, slammed his foot on the gas, and sped away before they could stop him.
And now, License is still on the run, posting content, and the NYPD are probably hunting him harder than ever. So, who is this guy that I'm actually referring to? Well,
how is he still on the run? Don't they know where he lives?
License is one of those guys who became famous for cutting up traffic outside of New York City while avoiding the police. He's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Kick.com, where he's essentially built this following of over 700,000 followers by posting this wild street racing content. And when I say wild street racing content, it's just like wildly stupid. I mean, essentially, he's just cutting through traffic, putting everyone at risk, including himself and the people who are sitting in the car with him. And overall, I mean, the driving isn't even that impressive. If you put any of these guys on a track, they would get clapped by someone who actually knows how to drive. Essentially, you have a bunch of high-performance rentals just going way too fast through the New York City traffic, putting everyone at risk, and then they're obviously filming this with dash cams and POV cameras and uploading it to YouTube to monetize it. And they make a point to blur out the license plates, and on top of that, distorts voice and hides behind a mask. So he's obviously trying to hide his identity for as long as he can. Hundreds of thousands of people have watched him speed through New York, but as of right now, he has still not been caught.
It's a dangerous tree.
How not? Doesn't Kick, if he's monetized on Kick, doesn't Kick have his address? Or at least his... They would have something to pay out the money. They need information for that. It's not hard to get that.
Known as throughway swimming is when cars drive recklessly on highways, causing near misses or weaving through lanes.
Do you feel like you're a danger to society?
No.
How worried are you about being caught by the police?
Not worried at all.
Unlike his friend Squeeze Benz, who was actually arrested a year ago. And if you go through his content, every video of him is either him taunting police, dodging chases, and then disappearing to park one of his rented cars in locations that he claims he only knows the location of. So when the news hit that he was almost caught in Times Square, that got a lot of attention. So here's how it all went down. A Tuesday night at the beginning of August, License was in Times Square with some streamers who happened to be live at the time, including one streamer by the name of Shangle, who had his own camera rolling inside the Lambo during the entire police situation. At first, it looks like the usual kind of like clout chasing fans stopping for pics, guys hanging out near the car, nothing out of the ordinary. But then you notice something. Cops already watching from across the street, and not just one, multiple units. And within like 45 seconds, NYPD had cars pulling in from 3 different directions. And that's no coincidence. That's a planned setup. They were positioning to box him in before he could bail. Then chaos erupts, the Lamborghini lunges forward, cops surrounded it, and pedestrians scatter. Also, keep in mind that this is Times Square, one of the busiest places on Earth. So
man, the thing is, if he would have just stopped there, just, you know, given up, it would not be as bad as what is coming for him because he ran. It's that simple. Just, made a lot of stupid decisions. That's it. Okay, I'm done. But now he just ran. No, they mad.
When I say pedestrians, there were a lot of them. And during all this chaos, a pedicab, which is like, you know, the bicycle taxi, it was hit, and NYPD says one officer's foot got ran over. So not exactly life-threatening, but easily enough to add assault to an officer onto the existing rap sheet. But here's where it gets a little bit blurry, because some people online are speculating they heard gunshots, with even some people in the car coming to that conclusion.
Oh my God! Yeah! My brother's back!
License has been released from jail and makes his first appearance on stream. Really? He was in jail? Why? What for? This makes no sense. If they're still looking for him, why would they, you know, let him out?
And this tells us he's definitely not in custody and that he's going to have to move a lot quieter. I mean, you can even see him worry in this clip.
Oh, I'm keeping it real calm. I was about to leave. Hey, right now, you look very familiar. I'm scared.
But going back to the most important detail, the way cops act in this situation, because it's interesting that they managed to surround him that quickly in Times Square, as this might be a sign of them actually watching the stream. Normally, if you call NYPD about an actual crime in progress, you're waiting for 10 to 15 minutes or maybe even longer. But in this situation, they were already there. So to me, it seems like a targeted operation, and it lines up with what NYPD has been talking about.
Yeah, would make sense.
Regarding their social media monitoring unit. They announced last year that they're actually watching streamers and social media accounts in real time. So if you're broadcasting your location with thousands of viewers, you're not just streaming to your fans, you're also most likely streaming to the cops. And remember, this isn't the first time clout-chasing drivers have ran into the cops, because you have Squeeze Benz, a 19-year-old who went viral drifting through Times Square last year. He posted similar content fairly regularly, and if you remember, he was arrested as well last year.
Oh, nah.
All these stupid people.
Because he thought he was completely untouchable until NYPD and Newark PD actually built a case off his social media footprint and arrested him. His videos literally became the evidence. That's
yeah. If people are stupid, they, you know, do stupid things and they get caught while being stupid. It's that simple. Man.
You know, a similar road that License is speeding down as we speak. So the difference is that Squeeze never ran over a cop's foot, and License allegedly did. And that's honestly the line you really don't want to cross when it comes to law enforcement. Assaulting an officer, even if it's just a foot injury, is the kind of charge prosecutors stack on top of everything else. So where is License today? Well, free currently, but definitely not safe. He might be posting right now, but every stream, every Instagram story, every clip of him flexing is just more fuel to whatever case the NYPD is currently building on him. They're not rushing this. They're gathering every single piece of content, every angle.
Of course they do. They want a very secure to prosecute safe case, and they are very obviously getting it. I'm just curious that the guy is not getting home. He has not one place to stay. He's, you know, with friends and stuff like that. So, yeah. His life not good. His life not good.
Every stream, and they'll wait for the perfect time to move again. And if they're willing to swing batons at a Lamborghini in Times Square surrounded by tourists and Broadway billboards, just imagine what happens when they finally corner him in somewhere quieter. And let's just talk about the big what if, because what happens if NYPD actually managed to arrest License? Because now it's not just traffic ticket situations anymore. First off, there's the Times Square incident itself. Cops say officer's foot actually got ran over. That alone could turn into assault on an officer, which in New York can jump from a misdemeanor all the way up to a felony, depending on the injuries. And even though the cop's injuries were reported as minor, the fact that it actually happened during an active police operation makes it a huge deal. Then you have the reckless endangerment, because he was allegedly speeding through Times Square, one of the busiest tourist spots on Earth, with pedestrians and cars everywhere. That is literally textbook reckless endangerment, which is also a felony when people are put at risk of serious harm. And since the reports say a pedicab and other bystanders got hit, that only makes things worse. Then you add on the fleeing and eluding police, which is another charge that can jump up depending on how dangerous the chase was. And this was one in front of hundreds of witnesses on stream in 4K. And then finally, you can't forget the car itself. himself because he's always on high-end rentals. If prosecutors can prove that he used fake info, or if those cars were damaged while being driven illegally, that can also tack on fraud or Grand Theft Auto type charges. But obviously, the kicker is all of this is happening while he's actively being shown on live streams and his own YouTube videos. So it's not like this is just like one incident that can be used against him. It's his whole YouTube channels. So literally every time he does something like this, it just becomes more and more evidence.
This is great. This guy's ruining his life. Literally life.
Oh my god, oh no, 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 oh, no, sir, oh god, oh my god, no, no, it's also over.
I mean, no wonder Jack looks so scared here. He's very aware of how easy cars can crash.
Yep.
Oh, no, no.
The bottom line is, like, half the people we cover here on this channel, every video, every TikTok, every kick stream, he's basically just farming more evidence against himself. So I would not be surprised if he ends up just like Squeeze Benz, because that dude, he thought he was untouchable until cops essentially pieced together months of footage and hit him with a mountain of charges. License is arguably way more reckless, and now that an officer has been hurt, the system has every reason to come down even harder on him. Bottom line, if they catch him, License could be staring down multiple felonies, years in prison, and a giant pile of civil lawsuits from anyone hurt in these stunts.
And what for? What for? He didn't make a lot of money with that. What he's getting out of it? Basically nothing. Oh, look at me, I'm cool. Great. Awesome. You're basically just like every drug dealer that's standing on a corner. Awesome. Good job. Idiot.
License might think that he's playing some game, but the truth is, the game has definitely changed. And also just doing this in New York City is incredibly stupid because you have more CCTV cameras there than like any other city in America. So it's really not that hard for the police to just pinpoint where he's parking his cars. But obviously social media clout got him famous, but it's also given the cops a playbook, and the more he posts content, the closer they get. But at least he wasn't super gluing veneers into people's mouth like this woman was, who's currently facing 15 years in prison for that. So I'd definitely check out that story here because it is just an insane story. But other than that, drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Yeah, that video was something.
Okay, everyone.
Come on, go back. Go back.
Everyone.
This YouTube street racer was almost arrested in Times Square after hitting a cop with his Lamborghini and barely getting away.
Man, I hate YouTube. Can you please not just autoplay stuff? They are after you. What? I'm still... Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, TikTok are caught faking her entire rich housewife life. Oh no, how dumb can you be? But actually... Yeah, we're gonna watch this. We are watching Mr. Somali. And oh shit, my back. Before we do that, I grab me something to stuff my mouth with. Like a slut I am. I have heard weeks ago that he was sentenced, but I haven't looked into it because I wanted to react to it. Because we have watched a couple of videos from Atosi about this retard. So Let's hope he got a lot.
This is the disrespectful IRL streamer walking out of court realizing he's completely destroyed his life. And now he's facing a max sentence of over 40 years in prison once you add up all of his charges together. 6 of which he's already pleaded guilty to. And things just keep getting worse for this guy because he refuses to apologize. He keeps on doubling down on his moronic behavior, and at this point he's just completely digging his own grave. To the point where he's honestly really going for that #1 spot of the Influencer Hall of Fame morons. Now,
who could have guessed that the retarded person is retarded? Who could have?
You may be asking, how is this possible? Well, he's built an entire career of harassing people in public. He went to Japan to do exactly this, and quickly found out because people started confronting him all the time. And it's crazy how much I called what was going to happen over 2 years ago.
You're from America?
Yes.
So am I.
You're from America?
Yeah, you're being obnoxious.
You know what we do to you?
What do you do?
We will do again.
Do what?
His career path is now limited, to say the least. He can keep streaming to the morons who are entertained by his behavior, but at some point, being disrespectful like this will either get stale or it's going to catch up to him in the worst way possible. But back then, he
did it, which is good.
He ended up being chased down by alleged Yakuza members. He was forced to apologize multiple times, but because he didn't do it in a sincere way, he ended up fleeing Japan for Thailand.
Oh boy. Wait, that wasn't Bangkok. That was Bangkok, not Shanghai.
Call me, be me if you need me. Now they all been watching like it's TV.
Where's the chat? Where's the chat?
In the way I do it, looking like it's easy.
Listen, I'm here as the lawyer. Listen.
But my head keeps spinning like a CD. Gotta do it right, never repeat. I just want more, you could tell when you meet me.
Oh, police are here, guys. Oh, police extra price.
Are you on board? Trey Flip and it's easy. 2014 outside in my DC.
If you ain't doing like super degen shit, maybe I'll see you again.
Okay, I like that. We get it.
But you know, just don't get canceled all over Twitter again.
No worries, I won't bring that heat.
Baby, throw it down like a bike, no kickstand. I've been feeling stuck in this life, no quicksand. Shit ain't coming quick, but I ride no ifs and still got kids coming up like big fan. Turn down one band for more bands, have more planes. A core fan just stacked up with smacked up. I fell, then got back up.
申し訳ありませんでした。申し訳ありませんでした。Oh, you a bad. That's what it is. You a bad. I'll take you to dinner. I'll change your life, baby.
They don't know your name like it's what you're calling.
So in September of 2024, he arrives here in Seoul, Korea, and he goes to the Mapo district, and he starts to stream by going straight into this GS25 store here. And he immediately made his way to the refrigerated section to buy soju, a traditional Korean alcoholic beverage normally made from either rice or sweet potatoes. And with this, he starts harassing the local citizens of Seoul. So after stopping at this GS25, they made their way down here. Obviously, this venue was packed, and he ended up running up on this stage. So not long after he goes live here in Seoul.
This looks so nice, so clean. I'm not used to this.
Korea, he immediately jumps up on this stage and interrupts a televised performance. So it took him about 10 to 20 minutes to start worrying if he was going to get arrested or not. So they made a run for it and ended up running to this bus stop right here, and they got on this bus. And here he only rode the bus for a few stops until the bus driver actually threw him off the bus, which in South Korea can easily be a business disruption charge, which he's currently facing 4 of. And you can really tell how uncomfortable his friend got with Johnny because he immediately left him, because that was the last time he ever saw his friend on his stream.
Bro, stop being a piece of goddamn.
And soon after, he went to this market and bought a fish, went onto a bus, and started harassing people with the fish and playing North Korean propaganda. And when people asked him to stop multiple times, he did what he always does. He laughed in their face and didn't do so. So he was eventually confronted by the police, lied to them, so they let him go. And then he continued what he was doing to begin with. And then he was confronted by the police again. And then he lied to them again. And then he was let go yet again. The cycle just...
Yeah, stop believing people of... I can send that.
Keeps repeating with this guy. But unfortunately, they just kept a tally and kept charging him with more and more charges.
Why are you being to other people in other countries? For money, for clout. I've said it many times. I don't give a I have no morals. I'm a sociopath. I don't give a Put this in your next YouTube documentary. I don't give a fuck. I want to apologize to the Korean people.
And at this point, I guess he just felt completely invincible here in South Korea, so that's what led him to do the 7-Eleven crash out, and then later on, the Latte World incident.
French, no English.
And this is what brought me to Seoul in March of 2025, because he was officially indicted, and I've been covering all of this from afar, but I wanted to see what this
And that guy is so dumb. It's unbelievable.
train wreck was like in person. And honestly, I was in complete disbelief. I've never seen a person who clearly knew better act this dumb and completely destroy his life for zero upside. By March of 2025, he'd already been stuck in Korea for months, and finally, he had his opportunity to just apologize, take his penalty, and go home. What did he do though? Absolutely not that. Instead,
Of course not. That would have been a smart decision. Are you expecting someone like that to make a smart decision? Neither do I.
he chose to insult the judge and judge's family just days before his trial, then show up to his trial over an hour late drunk.
The judge, the prosecutor, y'all can suck my causing anxiety by carrying a fish. Tell the judge you can suck my. I'll bring a fish to your mother's house.
Do you admit the charges? Is there anything you want to say?
The car.
Do you admit the charges? Don't you want to apologize?
I love North.
Now, as you can probably see, that was a complete disaster before, during, and after the trial. So did he take this as a massive wake-up call to maybe...
No, of course not. He's beyond saving. And beyond. I mean beyond. He's done. Completely done. There is no turning back.
sharpen up, start apologizing, and get his stuff together? Absolutely not. He continued to live stream himself committing felonies.
Of course.
Stop this man! Stop this man! He's harassing my girlfriend! Go away!
At this point, I don't even know. How is this person real? And this is what's brought us back now in August.
It's called being stupid. It's that simple. It's being stupid.
August of 2025, because he's now racked up 8 charges.
So we're now on our way to interview a guy by the name of Jung Do, because he hit me up the other day and he claims that he sucker punched Johnny in the face, and he wanted to take us to the spot where he did it and give some backstory to why he did so.
We're standing.
I like this dude. I like him already.
Standing here in Gwangjang Market, and I'm here with Jung Do, who infamously punched Johnny Somali in the face while he was standing right here. I had a few questions for him about what happened, and my first question would be, why did you do it?
So the reason why I did it is because he was assaulting people in my country. Just by his behavior, it just made me feel like furious, made me go like blind rage, just by harassing women and children and elderly people because for its clout, and also desecrating the statue that memorializes women who were forced into slavery, sorry about that, by Japanese imperials, which, by the way, most of them are underage. So after he did that, I just like, you know, screw it, I'm just gonna risk it.
Because you're in your 20s, I'm assuming most people in Korea in their 20s also feel the same way towards him, or?
Yeah, where everyone's just sick of him. Most people just recognize him for wrong reason.
If I may ask, how were you able to track him down?
So to make it short, I was about to like, you know, do some of my personal like problems dealing with like accounting things. So then all of a sudden, around like 2 or 3 o'clock, Johnny was live streaming. I decided to call my friends, so we decided to gather in the Discord call and told them, guys, this guy is streaming. We gotta figure where this guy is. I know where his house is, but I'm not sure if you go to other places that I'm not familiar with. So can you guys track him down while I'm riding a train? And it was like, sure, go ahead. So basically the 4 of us figure out where he's going. Man, it was like a really long journey. And it kind of point I was like really exhausted by it. I was like really close to giving up. And then until one specific spot that helped me find this guy. It was a coffee shop right here.
Oh, so it was the White Button Coffee and Dessert?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
But it's all because of this place that I figured it out. And all of a sudden, I was like filled with just adrenaline coming up. In my mind, this music, this one music from a Red Dead Redemption on the Nightmare.
Music from Red Dead Redemption came into his mind while hunting down the black retard. This is awesome.
I think it's called Voodoo, Bad Voodoo. Have you played that game? Yes. So this music was playing on my head, and then I was like, kept running, and then I arrived here. And one of my friends just told me like, dude, I saw a police station in your camera. Bail, man, just bail. And then I walk across the street, and then I came here.
You ended up sucker punching him right here, and then you ran this way, right?
Yeah.
He kind of started chasing you a little bit, and you had a little bit of a confrontation. So you guys ran down here, and then if I remember correctly, you ran down here. And then this is essentially where the altercation ended. Because he said something, you ended up running a little bit back up the stairs, and then you went, oh, okay, I gotta disengage.
Yeah, right? It's like, you know, I'm just so tired. I just want to go back home. That's it. If you want to go around and harass these people just for clout, or just do something really stupid in public, get a life or do something.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Operate.
This was funny. This was funny. And he deserved to be punched. I have zero sympathy for people like that. Like zero. Nada. Niente. None.
2 a.m. pizza secured. Now we gotta find a CU again, or a 7-Eleven. Oh, right here. Okay, that made it easy. Something in here is calling my name as well. Do I want a fish ice cream? It's like a bean paste ice cream. This also looks interesting. This kind of
bean paste ice cream. Oh, the Asians.
Seems like a vibe. Honey apple ice cream cone. That's probably fascinating. So in Korea, they do things where it's like, they give you an ice cup, and then you buy your own drinks, and then you mix it into the ice cup, and then you have a ready-to-go drink. Oh yeah, and you can also add all these things in here as well. We have something else in mind, though. Okay, so we've now acquired our ice cups, but instead of making our own drinks inside of the 7-Eleven, which is extremely common here, we're gonna do it a little bit differently because today's video is sponsored by GamerSupps. Shout out GamerSupps. Without them, we wouldn't be in Korea right now. What we're gonna do is we bought some water and we're gonna mix in the ice. We got the mango GamerSupps here now. What I do like about GamerSupps is it doesn't taste chalky. Also, you can get GamerSupps for what, 40 cents per serving. So it's basically the cheapest one on the market and it tastes the best. So I don't really see a loss here. And if you don't believe my statements, you can click this link in the description down below and use code ATOZI for a free sample pack of GamerSupps. So it's
oh my God.
1 spoon of GamerSupps per 500 milliliters. No, per 250 milliliters. Oh my. Don't worry, I shall clean that up. And the ice will work as our own shaker cup today. Thankfully, GamerSupps also has a pulp.
Everything works perfectly. What could go wrong? Except for everything.
Plethora of wonderful shaker cups as well. It actually smells amazing. Dude, taste that. Taste that. That is actually amazing. What? Taste that. Genuinely.
Okay, no, you got me.
Dude, that's amazing. Cheers.
Gombe.
Thank you. Thank you. Gombe. 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 Thank you so much, GamerSupps, for sponsoring this video. That was Cooking with Arling, Cooking with Earl, Cooking with ATOZI. Raise your hand if you've ever seen something like this before. Sally.
This looks actually nice. Not like the public art that we have in Germany, which is basically always ugly. Because it's from after World War II. Basically everything art in Germany after World War II, it's ugly. And this is not even a joke. It is.
He sells seashells by the seashore. Nailed that first try. Wait, I can't rotate that way. That's oh, okay. Dude, did you see that?
Jesus Christ.
Did you see that? I caught
that
it.
That was the GamerSupps.
That was purely GamerSupps. GamerSupps GG/ATOZI. Use code ATOZI. So you can have razor quick reflexes like me, and I'm completely jaywalking like a complete moron. I'm so sorry. Well, actually, I wasn't jaywalking. We had the right of way. Dude, we are so locked in.
So going into the trial, we had
Jesus Christ. Was the alcohol in that stuff? He was completely lost there.
A lot of questions revolving Hank and Johnny's relationship, because recently Hank went onto the K-Town Social podcast and said, hey, Johnny owed him $20,000. He wasn't associated with Johnny anymore, and
my God.
Johnny no longer lived with him. And to be fair, are we
Good for him. Good for him.
surprised there's trouble in paradise when you have two dudes living on top of each other in a extremely small apartment for about a year? No. Especially when you consider that one of the dudes there is not making any money. He's actually just a drain on this dude's life, and he's causing a massive rift between him and his family. And this guy's family is paying for the other dude's trial. It's just not a good deal for them whatsoever.
We're now headed to the Johnny Smalley trial. It's the day of. The trial begins in just a few hours. It's pouring rain here in Seoul, so we have the umbrellas on deck, locked there. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens today, because this apparently is supposed to be the most important trial day, because you actually have a witness, which is Bong Bong. And it'll also be really interesting to see if Bong Bong actually shows up, because it seems like there's been a lot of intimidation towards her, because Johnny Smalley and the people who support him don't want her to show up and testify. But again...
So they're intimidating her. Intimidating a witness. Isn't this a crime? I think it is.
And she's not the only one who has the deepfake charges against him.
Was there a chance that this is also the day that we get to know like the closing dates and whatnot?
Could be. And the other interesting thing that's happening today is we'll find out what the fourth obstruction of business is. Also, today the trial is actually at 4 p.m., not 9 in the morning, so the odds of him not oversleeping and showing up drunk are a lot higher, but never zero with this guy. So
Nice
what are we
building.
expecting to happen today in court?
We're going to hear a new charge, which is obstruction of business. We know that.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear a plea.
Yeah.
For Johnny. We're going to hear him confirm his address.
Yeah.
Confirm his occupation. See what he's going to say. And then, what do we got? Bong Bong.
Right. Okay.
She's going to testify, and it should be very interesting.
Well, I guess we'll check back in when we know. So Johnny's current freedom will be decided behind these doors.
Obviously, I can't film inside the court, so we did a little drawing again. So
Of
here
course.
you see the judge in the middle there, and then on one side you have the prosecution, and on the other side you have the defense. And clearly we had a very sad Johnny Smalley sitting in court today. So this is essentially what it looked like. You had the
I hope he was sad. He doesn't deserve to be happy.
translator in the middle, and then you had the prosecution and the defense on opposite sides, and obviously the judge in the middle behind what says court in Korean there.
Hey, brother. Here's the boys. How we feeling?
Not very talkative. That's how we're feeling.
Did you see that strut? What were the big updates that happened? Dude was definitely walking cursive, or at the very least, italic. I've never seen someone try to keep that straight of a face before.
All right, so we just got out of court. What were the big updates that happened during it?
Well, we had not a surprise witness, because the definition of that is somebody who we didn't know was going to be called. But we just made a mistake about assuming who was going to be called. It actually turned out to be the Lotte World employee who had to deal with Johnny's.
Oh, so we thought Bong Bong was going to be called, but it wasn't Bong Bong. It was her instead.
Yes, so that was for the obstruction of business at Lotte World, and then but Johnny changed his plea to guilty.
So therefore, she didn't have.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, this is adding up good.
Exactly. There's no need for her to testify.
Said she could just go because she pled guilty.
So he changed that one plea, so now we only have 2 not guilty pleas.
And the 2 that are not guilty pleas, those are both for the deepfakes or for the...
Those are both for the deepfakes.
Right.
And
they're going to call witnesses for that, which is what they were arranging now.
Okay, so they did not originally want witnesses for that, or that's what...
The lawyers tried to stop it.
Okay.
Since he insists on a not guilty plea, they have to call the witnesses.
But since now witnesses are involved, that means the next trial is going to be 2 to 3 months out from now, I'm assuming.
October 24th.
October 24th is the next trial then, okay.
We're waiting a confirmation from that right now because we always want to check. but it sounded like you're pretty sure that sounded like October 24th. Right? Yeah.
The lawyer was asking for too much time for cross-referencing, so the judge said that prosecution said they only needed like 10-15 minutes. He wanted like 25-30 minutes.
So that means the lawyer, since the lawyer first tried to stop the testimony, or stop the witnesses, but since the court insists on the witnesses, the lawyer asked for more time than they could allocate.
Okay.
So that means he really wants to, you know, grill the witnesses.
So would you overall say this trial went good or bad for Johnny, or this case, or this trial date?
I think it was pretty stupid.
Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed that it's not going smart for him? Who could have guessed that the idiot is an idiot, making idiot decisions? Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed that?
Okay. It was but you have a defendant who's insisting on these not guilty pleas, and you have a lawyer who was just flustered. And this was actually the first time we heard this lawyer make an argument.
Yeah, and how do you do?
His argument was that Johnny did not produce the deep fakes; he only distributed them.
Right.
To which the prosecution says, "Well, that's what you're accused of. You're accused of distributing them."
Yeah.
Oh boy. So Somali's lawyer basically admitted what the prosecution was saying that Somali did, without even realizing it. Oh boy.
Regardless of whether you made them.
Yeah.
So why are you insisting on a not guilty plea? But he is. It's a paradox.
Right.
It's like basically
saying
saying
you made them, you're guilty.
Yes.
Oh, if you said you distributed them, you're guilty.
Yeah, they cannot deny having distributed them. I think it goes back to what the lawyer said, like way back when. We said the law itself is stupid.
Right. Okay.
They're trying to argue.
They're trying the Chewbacca defense.
Johnny.
Of course. Of course they're going for the Chewbacca defense. Of course. Of course they do.
Excuse me, guys. No, okay. They don't want to be on camera.
What's interesting also is the North
Wait, his lawyer doesn't want to be on camera?
Korea charges that were hovering over his head, because he was actually brought in for questioning there. And he essentially got out of that by saying, hey, I didn't know what I was saying or doing. Please don't charge me.
When I go to the judge tomorrow and say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm mentally ill. I don't know what's going on. I plead mentally insane. And they say, okay, go home with a fine of $500.
Well, the only problem with that is his own streams, just like everything else he does. But here, he proves that he is very aware of how serious this behavior is here.
What's the law on that? You said you read up on the law. What's the law on that North Korea? All right, so no propaganda, bro.
Here it comes.
No propaganda. What is don't carry around no. What's the definition of propaganda? Papers, like papers promoting Kim Jong Un, like T-shirts promoting Kim Jong Un. None of that, bro. I ain't got no T-shirt. No, I know, but don't be talking about him and saying he's a real god and whatnot.
What's kind of ironic of all this is clearly
it's so stupid.
As we saw in the start of this video, Johnny wanted so badly to be liked and kind of be like Ice Poseidon. But unfortunately for him, his own behavior led to him being hated even by his idol.
This is the reality of the situation, okay?
Well, who's surprised by that?
I'm telling you the reality.
I'm listening.
I went to Japan before, no problems. After you did your I went to Japan, a bunch of problems. Why is that? Because of you. Made my life harder, so I do not like you.
So clearly, reality is slowly kicking
This is so funny. And it's coming from Ice Poseidon. Jesus Christ. Oh man.
And with Johnny that, hey, you're no longer playing a game. You have some serious consequences that are hanging over your head. Because it seems like he's taking this more seriously now. He still showed up late, but at least he had a fitting suit and he didn't make a whole scene when he arrived. But the main thing I noticed looking at him was, wow, he looks incredibly defeated. But unfortunately for him, he still hasn't.
Well, I'm not really surprised by that. I mean, would you be? I mean, he already pled guilty to 6 out of 8 charges. I mean, if that's not being defeated, what is?
Apologized. He's now
ran out of time to apologize and get a more linear sentence here because for some reason he just keeps doubling down. His whole strategy here does not make sense because he was hit with 8 charges, 6 of which he's already pleaded guilty to. That was the 4 obstruction of business charges and the 2 misdemeanors. But the last 2 charges, which are the more serious charges, he pleaded not guilty to. And he did it in a little bit of an interesting way because these last 2 charges, they are for distributing and creating deepfakes. And he pled not guilty, but also said while he was pleading not guilty that, oh, he did distribute them. And while that could make sense if you're in the US, here in Korea, under his circumstances, that does not make sense whatsoever because he's ran out of money. He's using Hank's money to keep paying for his own attorney. And this is only going to prolong the entire trial process and make his sentencing even harsher because he's not pleading guilty. And as we've already established, he's already distributed them. So from the people I've talked to here, that'll extend both his trial process, but also make his sentence way harsher. And realistically, he's looking at a prison sentence from anywhere from 3 to 8 years here. And that's if the charges stay as is, because before every single trial date, they add more charges. And that's because, again, he live streamed himself committing felonies because the dude can't stop incriminating himself. So this might go down as one of the largest cases of a streamer effing around and finding out. But if you want to try Gamer Subs,
which says a lot because there have been well, not streamers but YouTubers who, wow, really fucked up.
for free, you can go to gamersubs.gg/Atozy. You can get a free sample packet when you use code Atozy. Or if you want another way to support the channel, we have a whole plethora of new releases over on Matt.city, including the Soul Collection. And you could use those as a rug on the floor or hang them up as wall decor. It's up to you. I mean, look at this thing. It looks pretty dope. Matt City, baby. Notice how they're actually braided as well, so they'll actually last a long time.
Also, a lot of people wanted the exact drawing I did from court last time, but unfortunately I discarded it. But this time, I'm keeping it. And if someone wants it, I'll just be putting it on eBay. Open bid, $1. Have at it, guys. It could be yours for maybe like 20 bucks. Who knows, depending on how many people actually want it.
I also want to give a big shout out to Gabe from Culture Brat Productions for helping with clips for this video. And he's just dropping one of the largest documentaries on IRL streaming now soon, which he's just released a trailer to right here,
Ooh.
which you can check out here. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
That's interesting. That's indeed interesting. But sadly, I think we have to cut it short today because my back hurts. Yesterday I was basically laying in bed all the time, and the night before that was pure horror. So today is a short day. Tomorrow I plan on streaming, but I'm not 100% sure what we're gonna stream. I want to play games, but we will see how I feel. Ugh. I hope better than today. Yeah. So much for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed being here. I enjoyed it mostly. And I hope I can see you next time. Bye bye.